everyone. This is an express flow and we're going to focus on back extension and kind of, I suppose, back bending, but really front body lengthening, you'll see. We're going to start laying on our bellies. So come to lay down on your belly. You can come all the way down here. Make like a little pillow for your head with your hands. Turn your left cheek to the ground or to the hands. Release the top of the feet. And then relax here. Taking some deep breaths into the belly. And feeling your belly rise and fall. And maybe also listening to the ocean-like sound of your breath. The wave-like rhythm of your breath in your body. Good, start to deepen your breath. And then flare your nostrils to take your next inhale. Part your lips gently and exhale. When you're ready, lift your head. Shift your gaze looking forward, head turns forwards now. Walk your hands back under your shoulders. Come onto your finger pads and then let your forehead come all the way down to the ground. We're going to micro spiral the shoulders here. So we roll the shoulders back, squeeze the shoulder blades together, and keep moving them in these tiny little circles, working on drawing elbows in toward the body and the shoulders back and down. Really nice. And then we'll roll the shoulders back. We'll draw the shoulder blades down the back. Elbows come in toward the sides of the ribs. Press into the tops of your feet. So your knees are slightly lifted and your thighs are engaged. And then press now your pubic bone into the ground, squeezing lightly your bum as you lengthen your belly and lift your head and chest just a couple inches off the ground for baby cobra. And then we'll hold it here, light in the hands, as we deeply press pubic bone down and really engage the legs as much as we can. Hold it there for 3, 2, and 1. Really nice. Exhale everything out and come all the way down to the ground. Plant your palms, tuck your toes, and press yourselves all the way back to an extended child's pose. So your hands are reaching forwards and your hips are back at your heels. Forehead comes all the way down to the ground. Good. Lift your head, shift your gaze. Start to slide your hands back slowly to your knees, coming into kneeling at the back of your mat. From this kneeling position, place both of your hands behind your feet. So your thumbs are facing forwards and your fingertips are facing back. Now from here, we're going to lift our hips a little bit off the heels, just a couple inches, and tuck the tail under, squeeze the inner thigh and squeeze the glutes. Lift the hips just a few inches, look forward, soften the elbows. And then exhale, bring your hips to your heels, good work. Come forward again, sweep the earth with the hands, child's pose. From child's pose, come forward now onto your forearms and then all the way down onto your belly. Good. From here, coming into Sphinx pose. So we'll, again, root down through the tops of the feet. You can also tuck your toes in this position if that feels nicer. Press the feet down so that your thighs are engaged, your knees are lifted. Press your pubic bone into the ground, so there's a little tuck of the tail here. Lift your belly button up, off of the mat. And now imagine you're trying to slide your yoga mat, if you have one, back from underneath your body as you draw your chest forwards in between the space in your arms. And what you can also do here is the action of trying to tear your mat in half with your hands. So we start to feel actually quite active around the shoulders and the chest. You might feel some of the little muscles around the shoulder blade switching on here. So we're pulling back with the hands and pulling apart with the forearms and the hands as well. Good, you guys keep your chin parallel to the floor. Hold it here for another 3, 2, and 1, really good. Exhale everything out, walking hands back onto shoulders. We'll come back onto finger pads, micro spiral, shoulders going back. Elbows coming close toward the sides of the ribs. Root the feet, root the pubic bone, lengthen the belly, lift the chest, couple inches, mini cobra, baby cobra. Chin to the chest, back of the neck as well. Exhale. We lower down. Palms under shoulders, tuck through the toes. Press yourselves all the way back to extended child's pose. Here we go. Right. Little wiggle here. Slide your hands back toward your knees. You're coming to kneeling at the back of your mat. Let the upper back round. Kneel nice and tall. Roll the shoulders, lift the chest. Hands go back behind the feet. Softening the elbows. Tuck the tail as you squeeze the inner thigh and lift your hips. Couple inches here off the heels. Squeeze the inner thigh, squeeze the bum. Big breath. And then exhale. Good, and lower down. Awesome. Hands come down ahead of your knees. We'll press into a forward fold here. So lifting the hips, stepping the feet forward and bowing over the legs. Good. Slowly, when you are ready, we'll roll up to standing. The knees are soft and the head is heavy. Your head will be the last thing to lift. Good. Circle your shoulders. Nice. Big breath. All right, from here, sweep both arms up over the head as you inhale. We're going to bring hands together. So fingertips come together and we'll cross the thumbs so that you have a bit of space around the head and the shoulders are slightly open. From here, if it feels good on your body, what you can do is tuck the tail under, bend the knees a little bit and push the hips forward so you create this arc in the back. Doesn't have to be much. Good. And then exhale, move the hips back, lift the tail, bend the elbows and fold forward. Try to keep the back quite flat here. Really nice. Release the hands, spiral out the wrists. And then walk the hands forwards we'll come into downward facing dog. Nice. From downward facing dog, we'll roll forward through the spine into a high plank position just for a moment. And then from here, keep the toes tucked under as you drop the hips down, lifting knees, hips and thighs off the floor. Pull back on the hands, press the chest forwards any amount, upward facing dog. You don't have to be very low to the ground here. Good, and then big squeeze in through the belly, lift the hips back up, downward facing dog. Really nice. We're going to do that one more time through. So long, slow roll through the spine, high plank, push through the heels, engage the legs, knees, hips and thighs off the floor, squeeze the bum as you lower the hips, pull back on the hands, upward facing dog, and then exhale, downward facing dog. Really good. Nice. From downward facing dog, bring both knees onto the floor. Press your hips back towards your heels, extended child's pose. Really good. Exhale everything out. From extended child's pose, come onto your forearms, all the way forward and onto your belly. Really good. You can release the top of the feet here if you like. Let's make sure elbows are under shoulders. Engage the legs, press the tops of the feet, lift the knees, press the pubic bone down. Pull back on the hands and the forearms like you're trying to slide your yoga mat back from underneath you. Belly button lifts off the floor. Really good. Again, imagine you're trying to tear your yoga mat also in half with the hands. Some of us, not all, but some of you will feel good now about hovering elbows off of the ground, even just an inch. Really pressing pubic bone, really squeeze the bum. If you feel any pain in your low back, you're going to come straight down. Good. Exhale. And we lower to the earth. Hands walk back under the shoulders. Really nice. Come up onto your finger pads. Roll the shoulders back. Elbows hugging close. Root the feet. Root the pubic bone. Lengthen the belly. Lift the chest. Mini cobra. From your mini cobra, start to twist your torso to the left as much as you can. Really good. Try not to put too much weight through the hands. Squeeze your bum. Inhale, coming back through center. Exhale, rotate torso to the right side again. Try not to put too much weight in the hands. Squeeze your bum. Inhale, back into center. Exhale, we lower all the way down to the ground. Good work. Tuck the toes, plant the palms, press yourselves all the way back. Extended child's pose. From extended child's pose, slide your hands back to your knees. Move through kneeling. Hands go all the way back behind your feet. Thumbs face forward. Soften the elbows. Scoop the tail under. Lift the hips just as much as you like here. Squeeze the inner thigh. And then exhale. Lower back down. Really nice. Come into a high kneeling position. Take a long, slow shoulder roll here. Fall onto your left hip so that you can slide your legs around to the side. Come down into the center of your mat and we'll get ready for bridge. So traveling slowly onto your back. Have your back all the way on the floor, arms down by the sides. root through the feet. Have your heels ever so slightly under your knees. And then from here, we'll start by very simply rocking the pelvis. So tilt the pelvis down, tailbone goes toward the floor, arch the low back. Scoop your tailbone up, lift the tailbone between the knees, flatten your whole back onto the floor. Feel the difference between those two movements. So it's an anterior tilt of the pelvis where the tailbone draws down and the back has this arch in it. And then a posterior tilt of the pelvis where the tailbone lifts up and you have a flat back. You might also want to put your hands on your belly and feel how maybe your abs are engaged as well. And this is the position we want to keep here. So posterior tuck of the pelvis, low back is flat, abs are engaged, tailbone is lifting up. And then from here, we'll start to lift the hips up. Lift the low back, lift the mid back, and then lift the upper back. So you're resting on your shoulders. You're still in posterior tuck of the pelvis. So the tailbone is scooping up towards your knees. Your low back is long and flat. Your chest is open. Good. One more breath here. And then exhale and roll back down your spine. So rolling upper back, mid back, low back, and then everything comes to the ground. You can release your tail here so you have neutral spine. Take a moment there to pause, take a breath. Good, we'll do that again. So palms face the earth. Draw the tail up so you feel the low back really quite flat now. Peel low back, mid back, upper back, off of the floor. Coming into bridge. Press the knees away from the head. Energetically draw the hands back toward the feet. Hold it there. And then exhaling, lowering down. Feel and roll the upper back, the mid back, and then the low back comes to the earth. Release the tail, neutral spine. Let everything relax here. Good, really nice. Last one. I'm going to add in one more option for anyone who wants it. So just like before, tailbone lifts, low back is flat, tilt the pelvis, posterior tilt. Lifting low back, mid back, upper back off of the floor. And then if it feels good on your body, you'll walk your hands under your hips and interlace your hands together. You can roll here onto the outer edges of your shoulders and draw your shoulder blades in and down your back. Keep your pinky finger that's on the bottom of your interlace inside your hand so that you have a flat base. And then you're still actually tucking the tail here and scooping the hips up, but with the hands under the body, you might feel a little bit more length through the front of the chest. We'll stay here for another 3, 2, broadening the collarbone for 1, and then release the hands and slowly, slowly, slowly roll back down. Let the hips come to the earth, neutral spine. Toe heel your feet wide, so they're just off the edges of your mat. And drop your knees onto one another. Take hold of opposite elbows and let your arms rest above your head. So we elongate the sides of the waist. You might like to rock your head here, left to right. And relax here. Feeling the heaviness of your low back, your sacrum, weighting you down into the earth. Relaxing a little bit more your face, your shoulders, and your jaw. And breathing into the front of your body. Let every breath now spread into the chest, in between every single one of your ribs. Good. Widen your nostrils to inhale. Part your lips and exhale. Start to lift your knees away from one another. Toe heel your feet back to hips distance apart. Slide your arms down by your sides, and as you get there, roll onto your left side. Press your right hand down onto the earth to bring yourself up. Head is the last thing to lift. Coming to a seated position to close your practice today. So you can bring your hands onto your knees or your thighs. You might even like to bring your hands together in front of your chest. And we'll bow our heads and close our practice for today. All right, thank you everybody.